Sportsnet presentation in association with the Toronto Blue Jays.
I know you're at a loss for words. Me too. Yeah, we suck today.
This one is deep, and it's going to be off the wall. The throw gets away into the dugout, and the runner is going to come home.
It's tough when, a run or two feels like a big deficit.
Runner goes from first. They'll throw through, and Barracoto slides in with the third run of the ball game.
That is just poor execution.
Today was kind of a combination of what you do not want to do.
Oh, and it's under the glove of Okamoto. There's nobody covering third, and Devers comes around. Into right center, a base hit. And this is going to score 2 runs.
Offense, defense, walks, damage.
This one hit to deep right field, and it is gone.
The Blue Jays, quite frankly, did not show up to play baseball.
We have to figure out a way to stop it. They got to go out and figure out a way to do it collectively. Mound, defense, at bats.
Starting to think we're at rock bottom.
Remember that joyful victory on Canada Day? Well, the Blue Jays have scored a grand total of 3 runs since. They'll try and turn the tables a little bit tonight in San Francisco. Let's take you to Oracle Park. Here's Dan Shulman and Joe Siddall.
Jamie, here in San Francisco tonight, a guy the Blue Jays drafted in the Rule 5 draft from the Giants organization. And let's be honest, Joe, one of the better stories for the Blue Jays on the year, Spencer Miles will get the start.
I don't think Spencer is going to need a motivating factor to pitch well here tonight at Oracle Park. He has got an electric fastball, and it was on display against the Mets on Canada Day. We know he can spin the baseball. He's got the devastating curveball and slider, but he can move that sinker all around the zone. He'll move it in and out. He'll move it up and down. He's also got a four-seamer he'll mix in at the top. He's had some of his best velocity in that game against the Mets. A lot of adrenaline going. He will start this game, though, tonight. And you look back what he has done over these last 5 outings. 9 scoreless innings, and I love the 12 strikeouts. He's not necessarily a big strikeout pitcher because he's more of a contact pitcher with that electric sinker, but he'll get a ton of ground balls.
And, of course, the ongoing search for offense continues for the Blue Jays. Brandon Valenzuela is in the lineup tonight. Jonathan Clase is getting a start in this game as well. We'll see if the Blue Jays can get the bats going against the Giants.
They'll be facing a right-hander again tonight. Trevor McDonald goes for the Giants. The last 3 games have been ugly. 7 hits and 1 run scored. Here's David Popkins on the listlessness of the last 3 games.
I think it was a combination of things. I think Gilbert had some really good stuff that night. He was throwing a little bit harder than he normally does. He was actually darting the heater more than throwing it up and throwing off-speed below the zone. And he had good stuff, and he bullied us. We weren't ready to hit the fastball that day. And sometimes when you get in those a little bit more in those protective states and not in like the aggressive states and attacking, you can have those days where you're not really on anything. You're kind of just reacting. You're on your heels. And that was one of those days, and it kind of just carried on to lately. So typically when we're at our best, we are aggressive, hunting the zone and hunting the pitch, and we're getting our best swings off. And that didn't happen that day, or hasn't happened recently as well.
Here is Caleb. Help decipher some of what he said, talking about not being ready for the fastball, talking about a situation where they're looking in small zones. There's a lot there to digest.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of fans watching this are going to go, what is he talking about? This is one of the most aggressive teams in the big leagues. They need to actually shorten it up, but I think what he's talking about is aggressiveness in between the ears. And when you do get passive in terms of not really having a very committed plan, you go up there and you're just trying to react. And that's when you actually start to chase way more. When you have a very specific plan and you're ultra aggressive in that plan, you will check down on pitches just like that without even thinking about it. Can vividly remember being in the box thinking hard in, quick hands, hard in, quick hands, and some guys throwing some sliders away and taking them with ease. Or the opposite, sit back, let it travel, sit back, let it travel, and some guys throw a 96 with sink on the inner half and then taking it with ease. It's when you go up there and you have a little bit of a passive approach and you're just trying to put the ball in play is when you actually chase way more. And so that's what he means by getting more aggressive. It's more aggressive with a very specific plan. If you're sitting hard in up, you leave the on-deck circle, you get into that batter's box, and as the guy is pitching, you're saying, hard in, hard in, hard in, beat to the spot. And if he throws a slider away, your body will just check down. And it's a very natural thing. And so that's what Popkins means by getting more aggressive. And that's what I see throughout this lineup. I see guys that are tentative, that are trying not to screw up. And guess what happens? They end up screwing up more because they're not ultra aggressive. You can't be ultra aggressive without a plan. Then you're really down in a big, deep hole. But if you have a plan and you're thinking hard in, hard in, hard in, they throw your slider away, you will just check down. And that's what I want to see from a 1 through 9 approach for these Blue Jays in this game. Do it one game, see what happens, then build off that.
To the field at Oracle Park in San Francisco, here's Hazel.
That's right, rejoined now by Shai Davidi. I mentioned earlier Springer not in the starting lineup. Give us a sense of why Jonathan Clase is.
Well, he ended up being the guy who stays up with the Blue Jays, recalling Chad Dallas and Pinyango going down. And this is an opportunity for Clase. Right now, there are some different opportunities for him to come in. It's a different skill set. There's some speed. There's some defense. He's a switch hitter, so he can fit the lineup a number of different ways. But this is also someone who has a lot of tools, and we had a conversation with him before the game. One of the things that the Blue Jays coming out of spring training emphasized to him was take care of the details in your game, little moments, understand why certain plays are happening. So he said in the time that he's been up, he has been watching intently, asking coaches questions. Why are we doing this here? Why should I do this in this spot and not do this in that spot? Really trying to fine tune the finer points of the game. And that's something that the Blue Jays would like to see him put on the field a little bit more. And because he's got a lot of tools, he's got a lot of ability, he can hit for power, he can hit for speed, he can make a lot of contact. He brings a skill set that the Blue Jays could certainly use, and if he's able to apply that during the game, then they're going to obviously find a bit of results. So the Blue Jays looking for a spark, maybe Clase can provide a little bit of that.
Clase hoping to provide that support in support of Spencer Miles, and an interesting story on Miles facing his former organization. Sean.
Yeah, Rule 5 pick, facing the San Francisco Giants, and it's an interesting time to revisit just what a creative way that was to get someone who's been really vital to this pitching staff over the course of the year in ways that you could almost never have imagined coming into the year. But he, because of injuries, had just a handful of innings over the past 3 seasons. It's an unorthodox pick, but the Blue Jays scouts had conviction that his stuff would translate at the big league level. He was able to show that over the course of camp, and then as he got more opportunity, it just kept translating, and he proceeded to make more and more, deliver more and more innings that have been effective for this team. So he's earned every opportunity he's gotten, really seized the moment, and now he gets to show the Giants, who could never have imagined that somebody would have picked him, what they are missing out on.
Miles coming off, Jamie, that terrific outing against the Mets where he threw 3 scoreless innings of relief. We are getting set for Mr. Miles' 3rd start of the season, 25th appearance this year for the Blue Jays. Guys?
Thank you both. The Blue Jays, as you know, were manhandled by, among others, Landon Roop last night, and now fans are wondering what do they have to do to avoid the same kind of treatment from the unheralded Trevor McDonald.
Well, it's a pretty much 2-pitch mix. It's very simple. Sinker, slider, east, west type of guy for the right-handers. I'm looking if the Blue Jays are going to chase him in off the plate. That's where he's going to make his money, is getting the ball in and off the plate to induce a lot of the ground balls. To the lefties, can they push him out over on the plate but not chase off the plate? And so this is just a perfect example of a guy that's not going to really do anything that really surprises you, but can you get your A plan into a good position? That is a very devastating pitch. That's probably his go-to pitch in terms of that slider, but it's how he sets it up with the fastball that makes that pitch play up. You're going to have to pick one side of the plate with a pitcher like this that goes east-west. And so I'm watching. What are the Blue Jays going to try and do? Are the right-handers going to try and see him out over? If you get right-handers chasing both in and off the plate, absolutely no chance. You'll have no chance to do it. Jays do have 6 lefties in there, and he has struggled against the lefties, 288 average and close to 700 OPS for the left-handers. So it might be on the lefties to really get to him to jumpstart this offense, but this is going to be a perfect game to watch which side of the plate they try and eliminate.
There's some real drop and drive to that delivery from McDonald,
Old school.
isn't there? Yes, indeed. He'll be going opposite Spencer Miles tonight. Second game of a 3-game series for the Blue Jays in San Francisco, and we have it for you next on Sportsnet.
You're watching Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet, and a great look from out beyond McCovey Cove. You can see the Bay Bridge in downtown San Francisco in the background. Again, as good a setting as there is for a ballpark in the majors. This is Oracle Park, the home of the Giants. Another cool, cloudy night, but plenty fine. No rain or anything. But you can see George Springer's got the toque on, so some of the guys are ready for the elements here tonight. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Blue Jays. No Springer. He is expected to be back in there tomorrow afternoon. Kazuma Okamoto tied with Munetaka Murakami for the major league lead in home runs among rookies with 20. And as we mentioned, Brandon Valenzuela and Sean Keys and Jonathan Clase getting starts. Some younger bats are in there tonight. We'll tell you why as this game goes along. A look at Trevor McDonald, pretty young in his own right, on the mound for the Giants.
25-year-old right-hander as an 11th round draft pick of the Giants back in 2019. He's in his 3rd big league season, but this is the first big league season that he's getting regular work. 3-6 with a 4.42 ERA in his 11 starts. He was called up in early May. Walks are low. Strikeouts are down too. He's more of a contact pitch, but gets a ton of ground balls. We'll see if these Blue Jays hitters cannot get the ball in the air off this right-hander.
Some of the Blue Jays told me they felt kind of similar to what they saw in last night's game from Landon Root. So heavy sinker slider, also a changeup for the lefties. Ernie Clement leading it off. And he'll look at a strike, 0-1. And that is the sinker, 93. That's about where he sits. As Joe mentioned, a lot of ground balls. He is not looking to strike out the world. He's looking to make you hit pitchers' pitches and hit the ball on the ground. And he's out in front, 0-2.
Predominantly 2 pitches against right-handers, the sinker and the slider. He will mix in the changeup a little more against the lefties, using that sinker a lot more to lefties now this season.
A slider fouled back by Clement. None of these Blue Jays have ever faced Trevor McDonald before. We don't often see Ernie Clement take not 1 but 2 pitches in the strike zone, but obviously wanting to get a look at it, get a feel for the delivery of McDonald. Poke through the right side for a base hit. Well, he made Clement go after a pretty good pitcher's pitch, but Clement finds a hole.
Well, you go to battle with 2 strikes, and that is covering the zone. Ernie can do that as well as anybody. The sinker right on the outer edge, and this big hole on the right side.
And for Ernie, that's his 99th hit of the season. He is among major league leaders in that department. So the leadoff man is on, and here is Nathan Lucas hitting .284 on the season. Lucas went 1 for 4 in last night's game. So the sinker runs away there, as you see from the lefties, and now adding a changeup to the lefties as well. Lucas has some family in the ballpark. He was born in Sacramento, which is not that far from here. He went to Sac State. And we saw some Lucas jerseys making their way into the ballpark. Right in there at the knees, 1-1.
That's the pitch right there. As a right-handed pitcher, you're trying to get that ground ball off the bat of a left-handed hitter. Very tough for lefties to work underneath that baseball and get it in the air. Oftentimes getting that rollover grounder.
Third baseman Schmidt in even with a bag as Lucas shows bunt in a 1-1 count. Pulls the bat back and takes ball 2. On 1-1, you're not just showing to mess with the pitcher. You were thinking of putting it down.
And I'm wondering, as a left-handed hitter, you're thinking he's going to use that sinker a whole lot. Maybe he's going to throw a sinker in the zone that I can drop down.
Up and away, 3-1. And again, a look down to Carlos Fablis. The Blue Jays 1 run on 3 hits in last night's game. The 1 run on the Okamoto home run. And that is just low as Lucas draws a walk, and the first 2 have reached.
Well, this is a little bit of a better start from this Blue Jays lineup, something we have not seen in a long time. Base hit. Good plate appearance by Lucas drawing the walk. Now it's up to Vladdy to move things around.
And again, Vladdy knows as a right-handed batter, basically a 2-pitch guy, sinker, slider. And a ground ball right to the shortstop, and an easy double play. He got a sinker. It was over the plate, and Joe hit it into the ground, just unable to get that ball elevated.
We have seen this so much from Vladdy. He's got a bit of a steep path to the baseball. That sinker at the top of the zone, it's just not a match for that swing path. You've got to try to work underneath that sinker and drive it in the air.
So Clement at third, 2 down, and here's Okamoto. Again, responsible for the only run last night with the home run, 412 feet to left. On the outside corner at the knees, and it's 0-1. So on the Guerrero double play, you've talked occasionally about him being late. Was he late there, or it's just the swing path that got him there?
I think it's the swing path that gets him there. He's got a steep swing. When he's been the best Vladimir Guerrero Jr., it's steep. And what I mean by this, think of almost working down to the ball, and I'm over exaggerating, but it's because that body's not allowing him to turn behind the baseball. When you do that, you can stay behind it and create space. Now you can catch the ball on the upswing. If you're moving forward, or if your timing is off, if you're too upright, you work more over the ball and across the ball. The path, think of smothering the ball. He's smothering the ball with the barrel as opposed to tilting back and allow that barrel to work underneath the baseball to drive it in the air.
Because he got the pitch, I think, that he was expecting in the sinker, and it was in the zone a little bit up. It was in a good spot.
He can handle that pitch.
Yeah.
He can drive that pitch in the air when his mechanics are right and he's working behind the baseball.
The 2-2 to Okamoto, and he bounces it weakly towards third. Schmidt will charge, and they'll get him. So it starts off looking promising, but they end up empty-handed. So the bottom of the first, no score here in San Francisco. And a look at the lineup for the Giants includes a guy who had a big night last night, Elliot Ramos. 2 home runs and a triple. He drove in a career high 5. Luis Arraez is always dangerous. Rafael Devers is currently extremely dangerous. The Giants are actually swinging the bats pretty well right now, and they will get a look at a guy who until December was in their organization in Spencer Miles.
Ramos and company will get a very different look tonight. Miles has been an electric right-hander. He's been a great story for the Blue Jays this season, not just getting the pick and the journey that has taken him here, but it's the stuff. He is probably the most exciting pitcher the Blue Jays have right now in terms of wanting to see. This guy's turning into must-see TV, and we're going to see it here shortly. When he's got his velocity, and even when he doesn't, that sinker's got so much movement, he can be very effective.
3 innings, 1 hit, 5 strikeouts against the Mets on Canada Day. His last appearance. Could go more than 3 innings here tonight if things are going well. And he'll start Elliot Ramos with a strike.
And getting the start tonight, we'll see how that stuff plays. The velocity was up coming out of the bullpen in the bulk innings there in his last appearance. Starting, will he pace himself a little bit more, or will he come out and just let it eat?
John Schneider was asked, why is Miles starting as opposed to working behind an opener, which he's done at times, and he said, well, a little bit of it has to do with they don't want to have Mason Fluharty do that. Fluharty pitched late in last night's game. They might need him later or tomorrow. And Braden Fisher, who often has done it for the Blue Jays, is not currently with the team. Again, if you didn't hear last night, Fisher is on bereavement leave right now. And again, we extend our thoughts to Braden and his family. So Spencer Miles is starting in this game. And there's a ground ball hit to short. Jimenez has it. And really, the way that he is pitching, Joe, he deserves the opportunity to start the game. He's been great.
Spencer Miles is a starting pitcher, and if you want to have him in the bullpen, it's going to be electrifying stuff because it's a shorter burst. That's what relievers do. The stuff can play up, but I think he has the weapons to be a starting pitcher. 2 different breaking balls, 2 different fastballs, and all very different looks. And that ground ball you saw right there, he can do that with the best of them.
A good challenge for him here in Luis Arraez, a .325 hitter on the season. He wanted to look at one, and he takes the curveball just low for ball 1. This is the toughest man in the majors to strike out, and it isn't even close. He has struck out in 4% of his plate appearances this year. On the outside corner, 1-1. Got 4 home runs. He's got 19 doubles, 7 triples. This ballpark is very friendly for triples. Down and in.
Well, that Seattle series, we were talking about J.P. Crawford, their leadoff hitter, and how it's hard to get him to chase. It's hard to get him to expand the zone. This guy's next level because he's a far better hitter.
Line to line with a little bit of pop as well. To the opposite field, and over comes Jonathan Clase, who is getting the start tonight to make the play. 2 down.
Well, defensively for the Blue Jays tonight, Jonathan Clase making his first start of the season, and he's doing it in left field. Looked pretty comfortable there. Varsho in center, Nathan Lucas back out in right, guarding Triples Alley out there. Okamoto and Jimenez on the left side, Clement and Guerrero on the right, and a little change behind the plate. Brendan Valenzuela gets the middle game of this 3-game set.
So 2 down for Miles, and here's Casey Schmidt, the third baseman for the Giants, who brings 17 home runs to the plate. Generally a utility guy playing 5 different positions, but former Blue Jay Matt Chapman is on the IL with an abdominal injury, so Schmidt the everyday third baseman at the moment. And another ground ball, a roller right out to Jimenez, and that's a very nice first inning for Spencer Miles.
Welcome back. John Schneider, very frustrated, didn't mince words after last night's loss, making it clear that when his team has quality approaches and pays attention to detail, they're tough to beat. When they don't, you'll see that kind of ugly baseball we witnessed in the series opener yesterday. And Schneider just didn't point fingers at his lineup. He said, "We suck today, plain and simple, from start to finish. Offense, defense, walks, damage. Need to get better. We will get better. Confident that we will. These guys are too good." Now, Schneider declined to confirm whether a team meeting took place during this tough stretch, but did share he has had conversations with individuals on separate occasions. Schneider is imploring this group to return to playing a brand of baseball that is representative of who's in the clubhouse. They're tweaking their process to improve, Dan, but ultimately the players have to execute. Guys.
Hazel, thank you. Underway here in the top of the second, and a ball that seemed to be in the air forever, Joe, drops in. A base hit for Brandon Valenzuela.
Well, first pitch sinker again from McDonald, and it looked like maybe he got it toward the end of the bat, and maybe Lee thought he hit it a little bit harder. I know Brandon right out of the box thought this was a catchable ball. What a great feeling as a hitter when you're around first and you see it drop in there.
Yeah, he dropped the bat with a little bit of frustration that he wasn't able to make better contact, but he'll take it, and that'll bring up Dalton Varsho. So back to Hazel's report a little bit, and David Popkins met with some members of the media before the game to kind of boil it down as much as you can. The first part is swing at the right pitches. The second part is when you swing to do some damage, not just to make some contact.
Yeah, and I think John's comments were kind of a culmination of that entire game that we watched. Poorly played defensively, sloppy, but the at-bats, we were continuing. I was circling things on my scorebook here, the pitches that they were swinging at and making outs on. Early in the count, you've got to have your focus more middle of the plate. They're swinging at pitches on the edges and off, rolling over balls, popping them up. So when you have an outing like that against a pitcher like Roop,
Varsho lines the ball to short, and a nice leaping catch made by Willie Adames for the out.
A big part of it was Roop was a struggling pitcher. He had a couple of good starts, but it had been a bit of a slog for him, and you can't get to him. It's one thing when you're facing the Castillos and Gilberts and Hancocks in Seattle, but you come in here and face a guy that can't find a win, and he looks like Cy Young. So I think that made it really all blow up.
And Trevor McDonald, until his last start, it had been a slog for him, but he's coming off a very good outing against Arizona. As now Sean Keys steps in. The base hit for Valenzuela, by the way, snapped an 0 for 18 for him. Keys comes up 0 for his last 11. There just has not been much offense at all in recent days. Takes it low, and it's a ball and a strike. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Now, he swung at the right pitch. Yep. It was the first pitch. It was a sinker right over the plate. He just did not put the right swing on it to get it in the air. He hit it hard, but as we know by now, hitting it hard on the ground is not going to do you much good. We have seen that story over the years. So in his case, it wasn't swinging at the wrong pitch, and well, you tell me whether he was swinging with intent or not. Hard. I mean, he hit it hard, but he hit it into the ground.
It's so hard when you're fighting to find your right swing. His swing's not right. It's not what it should be.
Yeah.
And when you keep fighting that day in and day out, he's got to be just. I'm sure he's tried a million things, and things haven't worked. It's unfathomable that we're in July and we haven't seen him rectify this yet. And I say unfathomable because of the ceiling that we all know that he has. We watched it all postseason.
And he's 27. It's not like he's 37 years old or anything like that.
These are the years you're expecting him to be a top 5 hitter in the sport.
Valenzuela the lead. The count remains 2-2 on Keys, and he lines it into right, a base hit. Up to second goes Valenzuela. Good contact there from Keys.
Very impressive that time, and that's what you have to do against that sinker at the top of the zone. Flatten that bat out, and he did. You see that sinker comes right back toward the barrel of the left-handed hitter. That can be a dominant pitch against righties because he'll move it around and run it in. Lefties, if it's out over, going toward the barrel. Sean put a good swing on it.
So now Jonathan Clase. Many thought he would be going back down to the minors today, but it was Yohendrick Pinango who was optioned. Clase stays. John Schneider's reasons: more speed. He's a switch hitter, can play all 3 outfield spots. And for Clase, who's got some skills, and he had some time with the Blue Jays last year, hit .210 in 34 games. John Schneider kind of admitted it's prove it time. Like, they know he's got skill. They've been working with him on more attention to detail and, maxing out on your ability, finding it. And it sounds like he may be given a little bit of run here in the next few days. I would imagine when you've been in the organization and then Pinango gets called up, sent down, called up again, it's not you. That makes you look and say, oh, what do I need to do? And he did play much better the last couple of weeks in Buffalo than he did early in the season. Did not get off to a good start. A high fly ball to right field. Ramos is going back. He's looking up, and it's gone. And how about that for your first start of the season? Jonathan Clase hits it out for a 3-run shot.
Mix it up, try something new, try something different. Jonathan told me today his approach at the plate is to try to dominate the strike zone. He laid off of 2 sinkers up and away. He gets this little slider from McDonald, middle in, and just got it up and over into Levi's landing.
A 3-run home run here from Clase, who had just 1 at bat before tonight. I don't know what that is. That's new, but maybe they're mixing it up with the celebration as well. Just trying to change anything. Got to pose for the picture. So from somewhat of an unexpected source. Again, not that he doesn't have the ability, he just has not shown it all that consistently. That is his 4th major league home run. He hit 1 2 years ago and 2 last year. People may remember the home run he hit last year, one of the 2 he hit last year, was in the 9th inning in a game in St. Louis off Ryan Helsley. They tied the game and then they won it in extra innings. A bouncer to first, and Eldridge will make the play to retire Andres Jimenez.
Sweet swing from Class A. He got himself into a good count, and when he talked to me about dominating the zone, I said, what do you mean by that? And he used both hands and put them in the middle of the strike zone to say, I have to own this part, and really work from the beginning of the count. And that's what he did in that at bat. Laid off a couple pitches that he didn't like, got one he did.
So how about it's the 3 youngsters, Valenzuela, Keys, and Clase, who combine a couple of singles for the first 2 guys, and then the home run by Clase. Now a quick couple of strikes as Ernie Clement has seen some sliders away from him. They scored as many runs on that swing as they scored the last 4 games combined.
Managers love 3-run homers.
They do. And you know what? If Clase had gotten sent back down and Pinango had been in left tonight, nobody would have batted an eye. Nope. Nobody would have asked a question. But they're trying something new. They want to see if there's a bit of a spark.
And I think that spark can happen on the base pass too with Clase, with what he brings with his speed. So it's a switch hitter, both sides of the plate. If they do bring a lefty in, he can just turn around and bat right if needed. Any element can help right now.
Definitely offers more versatility than Pinango. Generally has been a center fielder in his career. Obviously the Blue Jays have Varsho, so Clase, as you mentioned, is in left. He can play right. He's played all 3, but full count now on Ernie Clement. And this is off to the right and headed for the seats.
Elliot Ramos in right field on that home run. He almost decoyed me a little bit. I thought he was ranging back to make the play, and I was watching him. I looked at the ball, I looked at the outfielder. That's what hitters will do when they hit the ball. But it was Ramos that put one up in Levi's Landing last night. It was Apotaco. He knows all about that right field porch.
Now Clement sends one to deep left center field. This is well hit and it's off the wall. And Clement is into second with a double and his 2nd hit of the game.
Well, the boys have their hitting shoes on tonight, all over McDonald here early. This is that sinker that we're talking about, but you see that swing path from Ernie there, how he's able to work underneath that sinker, and that's what you have to do against a guy like McDonald. He is counting on you coming over that ball and beating it in the ground.
His 23rd double of the season to retake the American League lead. Here's Nathan Lucas. It's a bouncer to first. Eldridge will feed McDonald at the bag. That'll retire the side, but not before the Blue Jays get a much needed big hit. A 3-run home run for Jonathan Clase, and it's 3-0 going bottom 2. Well, the All-Star break is almost upon us. The trade deadline is August the 3rd. And again, as poorly as things have gone for the Blue Jays, losing 10 of their last 13, they and just about everybody else in the American League, you can still squint and dream and see it. Everybody's got something to play for here. Last night was unquestionably one of the low points of the season, but they still do have something to play for here. It's not like they're mathematically eliminated or anything like that. They're not playing well enough right now, but there's time still to turn it around.
Not happy with their record, but what matters most is the standings. And if other teams are doing it too, they're keeping you in it. The American League has kept the Blue Jays in this thing. And in baseball, it's such a crazy game. As bad as the stretch that they've just been on offensively has happened, you can turn this thing around. And hopefully they're off to a good start tonight and can keep adding on.
Rafael Devers to lead off the second, and look at a strike from Spencer Miles. Just one final note on the standings. There are only 2 teams in the American League more than 4.5 games out of a playoff spot. The Angels and the Royals.
It's a 13-team race.
It's crazy. Line drive to right center field. It'll drop in for a base hit in front of Nathan Lucas, and Devers is aboard with a leadoff single.
That curveball from Miles didn't quite get that downward break that he wanted. See how it just kind of hung up there middle in.
Two guys who have been friends for a long time reconnecting at first base. Here's Jung-Hoo Lee, hitting just 195 his last 11 games, but 315 on the season as he looks at a first pitch strike. Lee, another good contact hitter, only strikes out about 9% of the time. Fouled it off, 0-2. Let's go back to Spencer Miles and the Rule 5 thing, because I think a lot of people may not be familiar. It's a draft where once a player has been in pro ball X number of years, and it depends if you're a high school draftee or a college draftee, if your organization does not put you on the 40-man roster, you can be claimed in the Rule 5 draft. Now, a couple of things about Spencer Miles. One, he had only pitched 14 2/3 innings in the last 4 years with the Giants because of back surgery and Tommy John surgery. I mean, he hardly had any pro innings at all. That's not generally the kind of guy you take in the Rule 5 draft, because you've got to keep that guy on your major league roster the whole year or offer him back to his original franchise. So the Giants, unquestionably, they valued Miles. They just didn't think anybody was going to take him in the draft, so they left him unprotected. And then if you're the Blue Jays coming into this season, hoping to have another deep run, considering yourself a World Series contender, those are not often the kinds of teams that take Rule 5 guys, because you've got to carry a very inexperienced player the entire season. Usually it's the teams that know they're not going to contend that take guys in the Rule 5 draft. But a tip of the cap to everybody involved on the Blue Jays side who identified Miles, as that misses inside, 3-2. Not just the stuff. They had the data, the analytics, the video, but also some of them had gotten to know him or had known him through other channels, and they understood the competitiveness that he had and that he might be able to make this big transition from hardly pitching to the big leagues. To left field. Clase back, and he'll make the catch. And I mean, the story is yet to be written. Hopefully it's still very early in the Spencer Miles story, but over the first 3-4 months, he's been one of the best surprises, the most pleasant surprises about this team.
And seeing how we are in San Francisco, if you're like me, Dan, you've probably talked to a few people around the ballpark here involved with the Giants organization, and they're just shaking their heads when you let an arm like this get away. But you just don't know in this game. But kudos to the Blue Jays and their staff for picking it up.
A slider for a strike to Willy Adames. Hitting just .231, but another guy with power. These Giants can hit some home runs. We had a chance to catch up with Hunter Mentz, who was one of the hitting coaches for the Blue Jays last year. He is the lead hitting coach for the Giants this year, and he kind of took us through their season so far. And things have gotten a lot. There's Hunter right there. Things have gotten a lot better in the last several weeks. They've got some dangerous hitters on this team.
Got off to a very poor start, and it's so hard to dig yourself out of that hole. But they've done the best they can to get back. We came into this series looking at the numbers of this offense, and it was like, there are some pretty good hitters here. I can't believe that they're in the bottom third in terms of runs scored around the league. But he said early on, if you take that, say even after the month of April, things are much more improved.
Again, the 0-2 to Adames, and it's fouled straight back.
This is exactly where Miles is looking for that ground ball. This is a guy that likes to get the ball up in the air a little bit, so it might be tough to get a ground ball off the bat of Adames, but you probably want to try to spin it to him.
Valenzuela thought about challenging, then decided against it. It is ball one, and it looked like it might have been a little bit high.
Just fixing his mask, I think.
He's still learning on the fly. It's not been one of his strengths so far. He's had some tough times, but there's a great pitch, a slider down and away from Miles, and he strikes out Adames for the second out.
Well, we talk about two different breaking balls. The curveball, we've seen it. This is the slider, and it's a wipeout slider.
Strikeouts are brought to you by Subway. Get 25% off any footlong on game days. Order in the Subway app using code STRIKEOut. A big second out, and now here's the rookie first baseman, Bryce Eldridge. He went 1 for 4 last night. Kevin Gausman struck him out 3 times, but then he had a base hit in the 8th inning off Adamaco. A curveball at the knees, and now Eldridge wants to challenge.
Batter's challenging the strike call.
This closer look is brought to you by Specsavers, and that's going to remain a strike.
San Francisco has 1 challenge remaining.
So the Giants down to 1, and it's an 0-2 count.
He had a tough time against the veteran Kevin Gausman last night, and today he's got a younger pitcher, but with some electric stuff.
Hits it hard up the middle for a base hit. Devers around second and on his way to third. An elevated fastball at 98, and Eldridge got to it.
4-seam fastball. He tried to go up top and get the swing and miss, but Eldridge was up there. Big man himself. He's able to flatten that bat path, and he squares it up right back up the middle. Base running by Rafael Devers. Don't think he's going to do a whole lot in terms of getting an extra 90 feet. They're running on Dalton Varsho, knowing that the arm is just not there.
So first and third with 2 down. And now the rookie outfielder Victor Barracoto, who's only been in the big leagues a few weeks, but has made a very strong impression on his coaches. He's hitting over 300. It's a ground ball weakly to the right side, and it's going to score a run. It's going to be an infield hit for Barracoto. Don't know if Guerrero thought about trying to go get it or not, but with a right-handed batter up, Clement's way over towards the bag, and that's going to go as an RBI single.
It's a sinker in on Barracoto's hands, and I think it was just hit over there far enough. This, to me, goes back to Rafael Devers going first to third on that base hit. He just helped the Giants score a run.
Weak contact, but in the right spot to produce a run. And now the number 9 hitter, Drew Cavanaugh. The catcher tonight is the batter. I think that's the answer. That's at least Guerrero saying to himself, maybe I should have gone after it.
Maybe thinking it was so softly hit that if he doesn't get it, it's definitely an infield hit. He still had a ways to go, and then you've got Miles having to cover. It's a tricky play either way.
And again, part of the equation is the hitter a left-handed batter or a right-handed batter, because that will determine where the second baseman is playing.
And Barracoto was falling almost out of the box, staying inside that ball to shoot it that way. Hard sinker in on his hands.
Cavanaugh with a fly ball to left, going back Clase. He'll make the catch. And that is the third out of the inning, but the Giants get their first run of the night. So it's 3-1 now for the Blue Jays at the end of 2 innings. This is Spencer Miles coming off the field into the dugout, and you can see the frustration. And Joe, you and I both firmly believe this had to do with the 0-2 pitch to Eldridge. He got it at the belt, but really an 0-2 4-seam fastball, you want to get it a little bit higher, get the swing and miss. Eldridge got on top of it. I strongly believe that's Miles being frustrated with himself over not executing a certain pitch.
I do too. That's what would end the inning. I know he just wants to get that up a little bit higher, and even the worst case, you might get a pop-up or something. You're not going to drive a pitch if you get it up and out of there.
Guerrero gets a first pitch slider, and he'll drop it into right center for a leadoff base hit. Third inning in a row that the Blue Jays have had a single to lead off the inning.
Well, he will take it. The Blue Jays will take it, but there's that steep path I'm talking. So you see what I mean about coming over and across the baseball? It's almost like he's cutting that ball. He's slicing it.
You've used the word chopping sometimes. I believe.
Chopping would
So
be more
would
directly
be
down,
Okay,
but this
yeah.
is more across toward third base and
I
over
see.
the ball. So he's like slicing it. So he's slicing it in the outfield. That's a hanging slide on Nola plate. And he'll take the hit. The Blue Jays will take the hit. But that just shows you how he's still not where he wants to be mechanically.
So a pitch that when he is right goes to the Coke bottle in left field.
Yes,
Right.
that pitch is going to be up closer to the San Francisco Bay.
Here's Kaz Okamoto, who grounded out his first time up. And a quick 0-2 count here against McDonald. 6 hits already in this game for the Blue Jays. The biggest one, of course, the 3-run home run from Jonathan Clase. The 0-2. And that's a base hit. And Guerrero's going to hit the bag at second, make the turn, and he's coming around to third. So Okamoto doesn't hit it hard, but he put it in a good spot, and the Blue Jays are threatening.
But some nice pieces of hitting here early on by this Blue Jays lineup. 2 strikes on Kazuma as well, and he takes this pitch out there, shoots it the other way, knowing there's a big hole over there, and he uses it.
And now, Joe, as many hits tonight as they had in the last 3 games. Some good signs here tonight, but now they got to cash in. Nobody out. And here's Brandon Valenzuela, who blooped one into center for a base hit. And he came in on the Clase home run.
And sometimes not hitting and poor approaches are contagious. I think hitting and good approaches are contagious. Now Valenzuela coming to the plate. Try to feed off this, what these guys ahead of you are doing.
Two 2-0. That's the changeup, a pitch that he will use a fair bit against lefties, hardly ever against righties. So if you're a righty, you can really focus on 2 pitches. If you're a lefty, you've got to think about 3.
And Brandon trying to keep this ball off the ground. Sure, a double play might score a run here, but that's not what you're after. Going for a big inning right here. Get something in the air.
Line drive, center field, base hit. Guerrero in to score. Okamoto up to second, and it's 4-1.
And there it is. Good path by Valenzuela. These guys know he's a ground ball pitcher. You've got to somehow work underneath this sinker. Look at the path, working up and under. He just gets it toward the end of the bat, but you can see that his path is trying to work underneath that pitch, and his body allows him to get under it, to get it in the air to the outfield. Nice piece.
Now Dalton Varsho, who lined out to short in his first at bat. So it's Okamoto at second, Valenzuela at first. Valenzuela has snapped an 0 for 18 with a couple of consecutive hits here in his first 2 at bats. Varsho's got an 0 for going as well. A few of these Blue Jays do or did coming into the game. Dalton is 0 for his last 13. Down and away. And so far that changeup, when he's thrown it to the lefties, it's so far outside they're not even offering at it.
Yeah, if you can't land it, you can eliminate that pitch, and that's what some of these lefties could possibly do right now against McDonald. Just sit on that sinker in the location you're looking.
Bounced weakly back to the mound. The play is to first, and they just do get Varsho. That was very close. The runners advance. Varsho's not all the way back to the dugout yet. John Schneider is looking back, but no challenge.
No, this was one of those sinkers that ran off the plate away. Dalton would love to have this one back. Sinkers are tricky pitches because they can look good as you're getting ready to swing the bat, but that movement takes it away. Really helped the pitcher out there. Almost beating it out, though.
Infield comes in now for the Giants. The batter is Sean Keyes. Grounded to first, and it's under the glove of Eldridge and down the line. In comes Okamoto, and in comes Valenzuela, and it is 6-1. A 2-run single for Keyes.
Sean will take it. The Blue Jays will take it. He didn't execute his game plan, I don't think, because you want to keep this ball off the ground. Here's the sinker, though, and that kind of plays into the pitcher's hand, but they get a break at first base as Eldridge just cannot come up with it, as Keys tucks it just inside the bag.
Not every hit they have had tonight has been scorched. A few have been very well hit. They have been a little bit fortunate in where some of them have landed, but they've got 6 runs on 9 hits already in this game. Here's Clase, who homered an inning ago. He'll take a strike. They got him from the Mariners a couple of years ago. At one point in the minors, he stole 79 bases one season. He's got the tools. It's just, can he put it together? Grounded up the middle. It'll get through. And now Keys is around second and on his way into third. Again, not a ball scorched, but finding a hole. And the Blue Jays are not going to feel badly about it at all right now, given the way things have gone recently.
Absolutely not. Sinker away from the left-handed hitter. And McDonald's getting a couple of the ground balls he wants. It's just the one that Keys hit found the hole inside the bag, and the one that Clase just hit finds the hole up the middle.
Now Andres Jimenez. Change-up away. Again, not close with the change-up at all. Jimenez grounded out to first.
You just can't think about pulling the baseball if you're a left-handed hitter. Eliminate the changeup, get the sinker, but stay on it and drive it up. They'll think more middle of the field.
Because it's moving away from you.
It's moving away.
Yeah.
He wants you to come over it and roll it over.
And some activity already in the bullpen. Adrian Hauser, who can pitch several innings in relief, a former starter. He is up in the bullpen for the Giants. Outside, and it's 2-0. So Clement is 2 for 2. Valenzuela is 2 for 2. Keys is 2 for 2, as is Clase. Two and one. Maybe Jimenez a little surprised that one was in on it, because normally it's moving down and away.
That tells me maybe he's looking out over, but again, got to get underneath it, get this thing in the air. Cash in one more.
Runner goes from first, and it's lined into left. A base hit for Jimenez. Keys in to score, and Clase around to third. It is 7-1.
Another good swing. I think Andres was definitely looking out over the plate. When you take a sinker in, it tells me you're not looking in there, especially with the movement on the pitch. This one is out over, and he slashes it to left. And how about John Schneider? Got Clase on the run. He is going pedal to the metal here tonight, trying it all. Keep those bats rolling and keep running on the bases.
And here comes Tony Vitello. After just 2 1/3, 7 runs in of Trevor McDonald, and his night, with Hauser still warming. Has he made the call? They are talking, and now the pitch comm is going in. The home plate umpire Rob Drake's out to say, what are you doing? You want him? Yes, there's the signal. Now the pitching change is official.
Welcome back. Hitting coach David Popkins compared the offense's struggles to a fighter trying to defend 8 different punches at once versus just throwing haymakers and seeing what happens. He said, we need to throw one shot, connect on it, and the guys can kind of breathe a little bit. They're working their butts off, and it just takes one moment to break through. Maybe Jonathan Clase's moment was that 3-run home run for the Blue Jays. Popkins also told me they are putting a slight adjustment into play tonight. He didn't divulge what that is, but whatever it is, Dan, it's certainly working so far.
Well, they better do it again tomorrow.
They're throwing haymakers tonight.
So, Clase with the 3-run homer. And again, not an overpowering pitcher in a McDonald, but Joe, would look like, as you put it, a good game plan, that guys were going up there with the right game plan, understanding where they were going to be pitched and what kinds of swings they needed to take. Fair?
And absolutely is fair. And I think, too, when you think about keeping the ball off the ground, where some ground balls hit, absolutely. But when you've got a pitcher like that on the mound, you've got to attack that sinker differently.
Here's Ernie Clement. Probably a combination of good process and a little bit of good fortune tonight.
Absolutely.
To be fair, some balls found holes.
Yep.
But 7 runs on 11 hits. Clase is at third. Jimenez is at first. 1 out. Clement's already 2 for 2. And he lifts a fly ball to right field. Ramos coming over near the line. He'll make the catch. Clase will tag, and he will score. A sac fly for Clement, and it is 8-1.
We're going to get a lot of sinkers from Hauser as well. And he got something that he could handle.
That is the second out of the inning, and that'll bring up Nathan Lucas with Jimenez still at first. A 5-run third on the heels of a 3-run second. Lucas walked in the first, grounded out in the second. So you've got 2 guys who are getting their third at bat in the third inning. 1-1. And Lucas takes it a little bit up and in for ball 2. 8 runs on 11 hits for the Blue Jays. 1 run on 3 hits for the Giants. Ball 3. Hauser, parts of 10 seasons in the big leagues. His best years with Milwaukee, a full-time starter for several years, but started this year in the rotation of the bullpen recently, but perfectly capable of going 70 or 80 pitches here. Now to play full count. Guerrero next if Lucas gets aboard. Eldridge comes off the bag. He'll play behind Jimenez, who's going to be moving on the pitch. There he goes, and the 3-2 is hit in the air, foul, and out of play again. Lucas digs back in. Hauser looking in, and again Jimenez will be off and running. There he goes, and the 3-2 again, and that's ball 4. So the inning will continue, and it will be Guerrero coming up, and it was Guerrero who began this inning with a base hit to center field.
It's a nice cream inning, Dan. A little chilly out here in the Bay Area tonight, but we'll take it. Everybody hits.
Guerrero grounded into that double play in the first, but then singled and scored here this inning. And this one up the middle. The throw to first is in time. A good play made by Adames. Frustration that Guerrero tries to keep inside. The inning comes to a close, but the Blue Jays do score 5. Folks, step into the Upside Down on Wednesday, July 22nd, as the Blue Jays celebrate 10 years of Stranger Things. Fans who purchase a specialty ticket will receive a Blue Jays Mike Wheeler bobblehead. Remember, this item is exclusive for fans who purchase a specialty ticket. Visit BlueJays.com/specialty tickets to get your tickets today. It is 8-1. Blue Jays going bottom 3. Top of the order, Elliot Ramos. He'll look at a strike from Spencer Miles, who was sitting in that dugout for a long time, but I don't think he minds one bit with the offense adding on 5 runs. That was boxed up by Valenzuela. What happened there, catcher?
Well, they come up to try to frame it so quickly that you can come up without the baseball. You can still get that call. You can still challenge. And that's the issue with the ABS is nothing's off limits.
Off the glove of Miles, but there's not going to be a play. Bounces over towards Okamoto. It'll be a base hit for Ramos, but the good news is Miles knocked it down with his glove. Didn't get a piece of him.
Line drive right back at him, probably heading up the middle, so he tries to make the play, but once he can't come up with it, no chance.
Ramos is a hot hitter right now. He's the guy who had the huge game last night. And now the leadoff man is on for Luis Ariz, who lined out to left in his first at bat. He'll take a curveball down and in for ball 1. Two and 0. Ariz is a .318 lifetime hitter. And not only is that the best among all active players, second best is .301. Jose Altuve. He's 17 points clear of anybody else. There's a strike.
Loves hitting here at Oracle Park too, and I think it's because of the big outfield. Lots of room out there for a spray type hitter.
Eight previous years in the big leagues, Joe, and the lowest batting average Luis Ariz has ever had is .292.
Unbelievable. He just gets hits.
Usually good for about 30 doubles. Not a big power hitter. Much improved defensively this year. Lines it into right. A base hit. That's Luis Ariz. 2 on with nobody out.
He's very good at hitting behind in the count, but ahead in the count here, he's just looking for the sinker and gets it right in the middle of the plate.
So the Blue Jays have a big lead, but you don't want to give the Giants too much confidence here. Bottom of the third, 2 on, nobody out. And the heart of the order coming up. Casey Schmidt is the batter. Rafael Devers is on deck. That's 5 hits now for the Giants off Miles in 2+ innings. Schmidt grounded out to short in the first. In there, 0-1.
Starts him off with that slider again, maybe looking for another ground ball like he got first time against Schmidt.
Tony Vitello, first year manager with the Giants, looking on. Inside, a ball and a strike. In case you were wondering, I'm sure people can know by looking at it, these are the City Connects for the Giants, not their typical uniforms here tonight. To right field, and it's going to get down for a base hit. And the Giants have loaded the bases. For Rafael Devers.
Sinker up in the zone, and that's where Spencer will live with that pitch. So often throws it up high, and it looked like you jammed him a little bit, but Schmidt does a nice job dropping it in front of Lucas and right.
And now Valenzuela, the young catcher, is on his way to the mound to talk to Miles, and now you're just thinking about damage control, minimizing the damage here, right?
Absolutely. This is all about trying to put up a smaller number here. You're going to concede 1 for sure, but this is where you really want to try to get that double play ball.
So here's Devers, who singled and scored his last time up. Devers in 109 games against the Blue Jays has an OPS of .925. A lot of big hits as a member of the Boston Red Sox against the Blue Jays. Takes ball one. And there's activity in the bullpen. It's Mason Fluharty. The 1-0. And a ground ball hit to short. Jimenez to the bag for one and on to first for two. The Giants get a run, but the Blue Jays will take that every day of the week.
That is a huge pitch for Miles. It's a big pitch for him. That sinker is outstanding. Opponent's hitting just 162 against that pitch, and when you can get a lot of ground balls, and that one from a very dangerous hitter, you've got the big lead. You mentioned the damage control. That's what damage control is, turning two and conceding one.
The end result, after the run comes in to score, Arias is at third, but two down for Jung-Hoo Lee. And Valenzuela tells Miles to step off for a moment. Goes back to PitchCom, and now they agree. Ground ball. Guerrero, the flip to Miles in time to end the inning. So bases loaded, nobody out, and he only gives up one. Fans, following the All-Star break, baseball returns to Rogers Center on July 17th for a City Connect Friday. The Blue Jays will hit the field in their City Connect uniforms as the ballpark transforms into night mode. Visit BlueJays.com/tickets to secure your seats now. Here at Oracle Park in San Francisco, Dan Schulman, Joe Siddall, Hazel May, the Blue Jays 8 and the Giants 2. Kazuma Okamoto leading off the fourth. Okamoto's 1 for 2, singled and scored in the third. Adrian Hauser on in relief, came on in the middle of the top of the third after Trevor McDonald was lifted. 8 runs on 11 hits charged to Trevor McDonald tonight in 2 1/3. The most earned runs he has given up in a game this season as Okamoto grounds out. 1 down. Shaking his head a little bit on his way back to the dugout as now Brandon Valenzuela comes up. Valenzuela is 2 for 2. He flared one into shallow center in the second, and then he did a good job, as Joe illustrated very well, digging out a low sinker, getting underneath it, getting it in the air enough to line it into center for an RBI single in the third.
Not a lot different here with Hauser. A lot of sinkers from him as well. Maybe a little more velocity on his sinkers than we saw from McDonald.
Down and away, it's even at 1-1. Valenzuela playing about 1 out of every 3 right now. Alejandro Kirk getting most of the playing time since he has come off the IL. And John Schneider was asked before the game if Kirk's thumb is still bothering him when he hits. And he said maybe a little bit when he swings and misses, but that is the only time. And he says Kirk does not have enough at bats yet for this to be a concern for them. That he didn't say it this way, but he's got some concerns right now, but it doesn't sound like Alejandro Kirk's hitting is one of his concerns. Back to the mound. Easy play for Hauser. 2 down.
It's almost like he's treating it as though it's the beginning of the season for Kirk, and you don't get too concerned with hitters until they get their feet underneath them, and that's usually around 100+ at-bats. But we've seen the struggles early on from Alejandro.
Patrick Corbin is up. So let's see if Miles is going to come back out. Remember, Corbin pitched after Miles on Canada Day, a big lead for the Blue Jays against the Mets, and Corbin went 5 innings. And now another ground ball back to the mound, this time by Varsho, and that's that. 3 quick ground ball outs here in the top of the 4th. Fans, get closer to Blue Jays history with hands-on history tours now at Rogers Center. hold authenticated game-used artifacts, and there will also be iconic photo ops throughout the ballpark. Go to BlueJays.com/tours for tickets. Eight to 2 going to the bottom of the fourth inning. And Spencer Miles is back on the mound. So we saw Patrick Corbin up in the bullpen, but Miles is out to begin the bottom of the fourth. Willie Adames is the first hitter. And this is lined into center, a base hit. Third inning in a row, the Giants have had the leadoff man on. And now Bryce Eldridge coming up. Eldridge had a base hit. Remember that 0-2 fastball up at the top of the zone, and the big fella, and he is a big fella, got on top of it and lined it into center for a base hit.
Miles doesn't use the four-seamer nearly as much as the sinker, but when he does, he wants to get it up and above the zone.
Bryce Eldridge is 6'7", 250.
It's a large human. I saw him taking batting practice today, coming in and out of his groups, and I was like, yeah, big dude.
Curveball misses just off the outside corner. Hits it hard and hits it far. He had a home run, and this is Denver. This is Coors Field in Colorado, but he had a 458-foot home run on the weekend. To shallow left field, in comes Clase for out number one.
And this is what you can do oftentimes to big guys. You want to crowd them. They like to get those big arms extended. Watch where this sinker is. Starts in, comes back a bit, but stays on the inside edge. It's just hard to get the arms extended if you're a big guy, and jams them and gets the lazy fly ball.
One down, and now Victor Barracoto, and obviously John Schneider was hoping Miles can get through this inning. He's got Corbin up, and Corbin needs a little bit more time to warm up than your typical reliever. But every out you can get out of one guy means maybe one less guy you have to use later on, or one less out you're going to ask later on. Boy, Pete Walker's bundled up tonight.
It's a little cooler today.
It is cool down.
Cooler than yesterday.
Yeah. Summer in San Francisco. High fly ball to shallow right center for Lucas. 2 down. We saw George Springer with a toque on before. We got the hoodie under the jersey. It's all about layers in San Francisco. That's what the locals will tell you. Layer up. There
Hockey
you go.
jersey always works.
Yeah, hoodie under the City Connect hockey jersey. Got all the bases covered. See, we're not kidding. It's not warm here. A strike to Drew Cavanaugh. Cavanaugh started the year at Double-A, got called up to Triple-A, put up big numbers there, and then up to the big leagues very recently. Was called up on June the 26th, so less than a couple of weeks ago, and made his major league debut that night. Hit .330 in 32 games at Triple-A. You see his combined Double-A, Triple-A numbers there. Grounded up the middle, right where Jimenez is playing. And a good inning for Spencer Miles after that leadoff base hit. Through 4 here tonight. Fans, don't miss the game's top sluggers go at it in the annual Home Run Derby. It's Monday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sportsnet. And then on Tuesday, of course, it is the All-Star Game itself, the annual Midsummer Classic. Ernie Clement, Dylan Cease, and Louis Varland will all be there, along with John Schneider and the coaching staff. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. So 4 innings for Spencer Miles After that leadoff base hit, got 3 big outs, minimized the damage in the third. Looks like he is done. When you're hugging your catcher, that's usually a pretty good sign that you're done.
Those are great conversations right there. Drew Butera working with the catchers, and that's all about setups. It's about sequencing. It's about how you got to certain counts and what you did against certain guys. That's the best time right there, assuming Spencer's done there, is to get those guys together while it's fresh in their heads. And now Spencer can take that, Valenzuela can take that, and they'll rehash that information later. But Drew all over that right in game.
Sean Keys all over that, but he pulled it foul. That is in McCovey Cove, but he hit it foul. Straighten it out, Sean, and you're going to have a memory. 108 splash hits. That's just for the Giants over the years. That doesn't include the visitors. And had he kept this one fair, it clearly would have made it into the Cove, but now Hauser gets him on the next pitch.
I'm not sure if you claim that or not. Say that you put one in the Cove. Foul ball?
Asterisk at least.
Big asterisk.
Yeah. Keys does have 2 other hits tonight. He's driven in a couple of runs. There's some good stuff, but he'd like to have that one back. Speaking of good stuff, Jonathan Clase in his first start. A 3-run homer and then a single and a run scored. And a play left side, 1-1. I got a prediction for you.
Cheer it.
He's in the lineup tomorrow.
I thought you were going to say they're going to score 8 runs again tomorrow. Maybe.
Well, they might, but he'll be in the lineup tomorrow.
Funny how if you hit, you stay in that lineup.
Yeah. What a pitching matchup tomorrow, by the way. Yeah. Logan Webb for the Giants, Dylan Cease for the Blue Jays.
All-star matchup. You know, when you score 8 runs, we'll show the manager smiling.
He smiles, yeah.
What a run it's been for the Blue Jays. Not a good one. When you're in ruts like that and then you do break out, it's like everybody just exhales for a few minutes, and that'll be in tonight's game. Still lots of baseball to be played, but you just hope maybe putting up a crooked number like this tonight can get them going forward.
The last time they had a game like this was on Canada Day, which was the last game Spencer Miles pitched in. They got 9 runs, beat the Mets that day. Pulled down to first. Eldridge has it, and Hauser to the bag in time for out number 2. So Hauser has really started to settle things down here out of the Giants bullpen.
Veteran's been around a long time, and that's one thing he can do is try to hold down the fort, and if nothing else, he's eaten up some innings for Tony Vitalo's club.
Andres Jimenez 1 for 2, had an RBI single his last time up. You can see Hauser works as far to the first base edge of the rubber as a pitcher can work. Like his big toe is barely touching that rubber on the first base side, or his baby toe. He moves an inch, he's off the rubber.
Pitchers that throw a lot of sinkers will, I think, work from that side because it's naturally going to come back arm side. If they were in the middle or on the third base side, it'd be really tough for them to keep the ball on the plate because they would continually head over toward that right-handed batter's box. So he's just clinging on to the first base edge. And that's a pitch right there where there's lots of freedom for that sinker to run.
Three and one on Jimenez. Fouled off left side. Now a full count.
Now, in that regard, I would say that's the danger of it, is because now that sinker is coming right over to the middle of the barrel of a left-handed batter. So there are pros and cons for certain, but bottom line is executing pitches.
Ernie Clement waiting on deck if Jimenez can get on. Crowd getting a little louder here at Oracle as Jimenez lines it to third, but it's caught by Schmidt, and the Blue Jays go in order. 8-2 going to the bottom of the 5th, and we're going to Jamie Campbell for an update. Well, Spencer Miles gave up a few more hits than he normally does in an inning of this length, but also on a couple of occasions, Joe, made an inning much better than it otherwise might have been. Minimized the damage or got out of trouble. 4 innings, 2 runs, 55 pitches. The Blue Jays happy with that.
Love the sinker again tonight, and it came up huge in that at-bat against Rafael Devers in the 3rd inning. Bases loaded, nobody out on 3 consecutive singles. A couple of them weren't hit very hard, but that is how you limit the damage, and you leave a ball game after 4 innings, allowing just the 2 runs.
So now Patrick Corbin, and again, Corbin came in relief on Canada Day. The Blue Jays had a big lead on the Mets that day, and he went 5 innings. He finished it off. It was 9-0, or it was 5-0 when he came in. The Blue Jays made it 9-0. He pitched scoreless ball for his first 3 innings, and then he gave up 2 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th. The final score was 9-3. They're looking for length out of Corbin in this one as well, and probably, you know, inning by inning, see what the score is. They've got a lot of leverage guys available down in the bullpen, so we'll see how John Schneider plays it. Over the outside corner, he jumps out in front of Elliot Ramos, 1-2.
A lot of sinker, slider, changeup, and that cutter for the most part against right-handed batters, using both sides of the plate.
One of the ideas John Schneider told us last week when Corbin was moved into the bullpen was to shorten the outing so that opposing hitters wouldn't see him as many times. Last game against the Mets may be a bit of an anomaly because they had such a big lead at the time. It didn't matter all that much if guys saw him a 2nd or a 3rd time.
You get into a very dangerous hitter here. First one up, but at the same time, you come out of the bullpen with an 8-2 lead. You want to pound that strike zone.
To right field, Lucas giving chase, and it's going to get down. He plays it on a hop, and that'll be a base hit for Ramos as we check in with Hazel.
Dan, Corbin got himself into too many deep counts, a lot of foul balls, 8 and 9 pitch at bats. And after 3 innings, he told me he'd look up at the scoreboard. He was already at 70 pitches. So he's trying to get back to attacking the zone, finishing off hitters quicker. As you mentioned, Dan, he wants to shorten that outing. And when things weren't going his way as a starter, he found himself overthinking stuff. So while he's pitching out of the bullpen, he's going to try and focus on simplifying his outing, guys.
Hazel, thank you. Yeah, having more of an attack mentality, knowing it's likely to be a shorter outing. You and I were talking to him, and he talked about too many changeups as a starter. He came in last time as a reliever and said, I've got to come in with harder stuff and then use the changeup. Off of that, have just sort of a different mindset. That comes in a little bit high, and he's fallen behind 2-0 on a rise.
And it's tough because when you get to this point in your career, the stuff's not quite the same. We've seen it with Max Scherzer at times, a lot of veteran type pitchers. So you can attack the zone, but at the same time, the stuff's not the same. So it's a tough balance. You're attacking them with a little bit less weaponry than you once had.
Drops a slider in for a strike. 2-1 on a rise, who has lined out and had a base hit. In there, and it's 2-2.
I don't think Arise was looking for a fastball right there.
I was just going to say, and I think he just had a little talk with himself as he got out of the box in a hurry and maybe reconfigured his game plan getting back in. Now it's a 2-2 count. Fights it off.
He handles lefties very well, and it's most likely because he stays in there so well, like he did right there on that breaking ball.
He is perfectly happy to poke one over the third baseman's head down the left field line.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of pulling off from this left-handed hitter. He is staying on this lefty.
Uh-oh, he hit it hard, but he has pulled it foul. He just did what Sean Keys just did. Kayak's approaching, I'm sure. There it is.
Didn't take long.
Yeah. That's Mark the Shark.
Way to go, Mark.
You don't mess with Mark the Shark.
That shark was on it.
Now this one is well hit to right. Lucas back, and it's over his head and off the wall. Ramos is getting the wave. Clement's throw to the plate. Not in time. It'll be an RBI double, and it is 8-3.
Well, I wasn't sure they were going to wave him home here, and I don't think Ernie Clement thought they were going to wave him home. I think he got caught off guard right here. Look at the throw. It's kind of an off-balance throw, and he just lets it go. But I'm not sure he was thinking, with the score the way it is, that he was throwing that ball home.
Still nobody out. A run in, a runner at second, and here's Casey Schmidt. Another thing, too, and if you're the third base coach for the Giants, and Gary Pettis has been around the game a million years, he knows this, but there's all kinds of stuff going out on that outfield wall in right field. Fencing, padding, scoreboard.
Brick.
And it can bounce all over the place, and it bounced away from Lucas, and that was enough to allow Ramos to come in. Shallow center field. In comes Varsho. He'll make the play. This is just like left field in Fenway, there are other places too. You can't take anything for granted when the ball goes out to the right field wall here in San Francisco.
That ball that went out to right center to Triples Alley there, where you see the 415 last night off the bat of Elliot Ramos. Lucas said he was going over for it and he just didn't know what he was going to do. So you have to really kind of guard against everything. It's a big outfield and it's very quirky.
Here's Devers. Singleton scored in the second, grounded into a double play in the third. Outside, ball one. That double play was big. The bases were loaded with nobody out, and he hit a ground ball right to Andres Gimenez, who turned two. A run came in, but that kept it from becoming a big inning. 2-0. Big cut by Devers. He fouls it off. 2-1. Imagine your home ballpark being Fenway for so many years and the damage that Devers did there. This is a whole different environment here. A better pitcher's park. The dimensions are way different, obviously. 2-2. Some people wondering, with the Giants having the kind of season they're having, will they try to trade Devers? They just got him last year, but will they try to trade him? They'd have to eat a lot of money, but will they try to move him somewhere else? A look back by Corbin, and the 2-2 pitch is lined softly to second. Clement the catch, runner back in safely at second. 2 down.
Well, you got Matt Chapman at third base here in the Bay Area, and whether he's going to continue the first base DH thing. But it's all in the direction that the Giants are going. Clearly not playoff bound this season, but it's up to that guy.
Yeah, there's the man in charge, Buster Posey, who is now the president of the San Francisco Giants. What a player.
Yes.
Jung-Hoo Lee is the batter. He's 0 for 2. And Corbin jumps out in front, 0-1. Chased it. Boy, a wild swing. It's 0-2. He's had a couple of interesting swings here in the last couple of nights.
It's almost as though he's thinking, I'm swinging at this pitch no matter where it is. You're clearly not picking up the spin on that slider.
Strike 3 called, but he's challenging.
Challenging the strike call.
And it is strike
Pitch is a
three.
strike. San Francisco has exhausted their challenges.
They have exhausted their challenges. It is 8-3 Blue Jays at the end of 5. Sign up to become a Rogers customer and watch for Canada's winning inning. When the Blue Jays get a hit, you could win exclusive 50th season prizes. Visit Rogers.com today. Well, the Blue Jays have 11 hits already in this one and 8 runs. 3 in the second, 5 in the third. Ernie Clement's been a big part of it. Singled in the first, doubled in the second, had a sac fly in the third. So with the 2 hits he's got tonight, he's now at an even 100 hits on the season. His average at .297, tied for 3rd in the American League. Dug out at first by Eldridge on a throw bounced over by Adames, and Clement is retired for the first out.
Routine play, but Willie Adames bounces this throw to his first baseman, but a nice dig by Eldridge, picking it cleanly.
He was known much more for his bat than his glove.
Always take that glove toward the baseball.
Here's Nathan Lucas. 0 for 1 with a couple of walks. With the Blue Jays seeing righty after righty after righty, Lucas has been there on an everyday basis for the Blue Jays recently. Having Clase on the roster instead of Pinango gives John Schneider another option when the opposing team starts a lefty, because Clase is a switch hitter. One hopper to first. Eldridge has this one, and that's out number 2.
Something we weren't thinking about probably like several weeks ago, or back when the Blue Jays had all those left-handed bats in the outfield, and Sanchez hit the injured list and Pinango up, so you still had a lot of lefties. But that's a good point. That's what Clase does, and I think that was a big part of why he stayed, just to have that flexibility.
They are going to see one lefty, it looks like, in San Diego, in J.P. Sears. The other 2 figure to be righties. Guerrero a swing and a miss. Guerrero 1 for 3, singled and scored in the third, grounded out the other 2 times. The first one was a double play ball. At the knees, and he's quickly in the hole. 0-2.
I wonder if it's ever been a thought for Vladdy just literally to try to hit fly balls as far as he can, just to get his body to move back with more tilt.
Hauser gets him, and the struggles continue for Guerrero. 8-3 Blue Jays going to the bottom of the 6th. Fans, it's your chance to relive the back-to-back World Series championships. On Saturday, July 18th, the first 15,000 fans will receive a set of 92 and 93 World Series replica rings. And don't forget to tune in or arrive early for the unveiling of the Joe Carter statue. Get your tickets now at bluejays.com/tickets. Bottom 6, beautiful shot of Oracle Park here in the Bay Area. Patrick Corbin back on the mound for the Blue Jays, who lead 8-3, trying to snap this 3-game losing streak. Willie Adames leads it off for the Giants. This is to left field, charging Clase, and he's got it.
Well, left field is a little bit strange for Class A, accustomed to playing more center field, but we see here that it looked like he got a little bit late jump there, a little bit to his right, but good recovery coming in hard, making the sliding catch. When I talked to him today about playing left field, he says the only challenge is when you're accustomed to being a center fielder, you go get everything. Now in left field, it's like you have to guard against it, and I'm sure he's heard of the issues that have been going on in the Blue Jays outfield this season. He does not want to be a part of that. He went and got that one.
And good speed can help you make up for a so-so jump. Got a busy night out in left field, and he's hit a 3-run homer tonight. The batter Bryce Eldridge, who is 1 for 2. And he's going to get a look over the next few days. It looks like again Pinyango sent down, Clase still here. In there, 3-1. Oh, he jammed him. A swing that Eldridge is not going to be happy with. He grounds out for out number 2. Pitching decisions presented by Sage, official finance software partner of Major League Baseball. And Joe, that finds Jeff Hoffman up in the bullpen.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, isn't it? 7, 8, 9. The Blue Jays are lined up with Hoffman, Rogers, and Varland. Perhaps we'll see how this works. This is not a game you necessarily need your leverage, top leverage guys, but this is also a game you want to make sure that you secure.
Yeah.
This can't go anywhere.
Yeah. When things have been going the way they have been going, you got to nail down the opportunity you have. John Schneider knows that as well as anybody.
We'll see how he goes about it, but this is not one you take lightly tonight. You have to make sure you hammer this one home.
So Hoffman ready to come in if Corbin gets in trouble this inning, but obviously hoping Corbin get through this inning and just leave 9 outs for the high leverage guys. Victor Barracoto is 1 for 2. No chase there on the changeup down and away. It's 2-2. Bounces it foul up the third baseline.
Good adjustment there by Corbin on that changeup. I don't think you necessarily need to try to be striking people out with that pitch. Go ahead and use it and throw it in the zone. Use that change of speed and see if you can't just get him out front.
Ground ball to the right side. Clement has it, waits for Guerrero to get to the bag. He does in time, and it's a 3 up, 3 down, bottom of the 6th for Patrick Corbin, and it is still 8-3 Blue Jays. Well, it's been a very good first half of the season for Kazuma Okamoto, and don't forget on Monday, July 20th, the first 15,000 fans of the ballpark will take home a Kaz Okamoto t-shirt. Secure your tickets at bluejays.com/promotions. He seems to like it.
Trying it on for size.
Yeah. 1 for 3 tonight. Singleton scored back in the 5-run third. A lot of different guys have been involved in the offense tonight. Nobody more than Jonathan Clase, but Sean Keys has 2 hits and 2 RBIs. Brandon Valenzuela 2 hits and an RBI. Ernie Clement has a couple of hits as well. And they're up 8-3 going to the 7th. Although they have not done really anything off Adrian Hauser since he has come into the game. He has gone 3 2/3 hitless innings.
Hauser has calmed the storm.
Strike of the knees, and it's 0-1. Okamoto, then Valenzuela, then Varsho. just off the edge. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lots of finals, of course, around the majors already. The Yankees lost to the Rays 6-4 tonight. Grounded to short. Backhanded by Adames. 1 down. The Yankees struck out 17 times in that game. So they've now lost, if my math is right, I think 10 of 12. The Red Sox are playing well. They beat the White Sox 8-1. Red Sox probably in their best stretch of the season right now. Peyton Tolley had a very good game.
That was a 4-game sweep of the Yankees at Fenway in this nice stretch that they've been having, and bad stretch for the Yankees.
Texas, the team that currently occupies the 3rd and final wild card spot, they won tonight. The Rangers beat the Angels 8-3. Down the left field line, Barracoto coming over, but it's in the netting. How about this one? The Royals beat the Mets 16-12. Wow.
Sounds like a Sunday afternoon football score.
What a year the Mets are having.
That's not 1 run on 6 hits, 1 run on 2 hits either.
Off the corner. Staying warm in your Blue Jays hoodie. Inside corner for a strike. 2-2. Ryan O'Hearn for the Pirates had 3 homers and 10 RBIs today. Drove in 10 runs today in a 12-4 win over Atlanta. That's a great looking pitch right there. Valenzuela knows it, and that's out number 2.
I think Brandon was still frustrated with the pitch before, maybe thinking of challenging, didn't. And then Hauser dots the bottom of the zone with this 96.
Hauser has retired 13 in a row. Varsho trying to bunt for a base hit, but it goes foul. Varsho 0 for 3 on the night, a line out and a couple of groundouts.
Hauser using a lot of fastballs also. Sinker's been a big pitch for him. He's also mixed in the 4-seamer, but really just going after hitters, moving the ball around.
Now 0-2 on Varsho. And a nice grab made in the 2nd level, just a little bit to our left.
Fans have fun with that, don't they?
He's getting a standing ovation. The whole section giving a standing ovation. Fly ball to left field. Barracoto makes the catch, and it's yet another 3-up, 3-down inning. 7th inning stretch. It's still 8-3 Blue Jays.
Discover the magic of BetMGM Casino. Check out a wide variety of table games, the live dealer, roulette, blackjack, and more. Download the BetMGM Ontario app. Please gamble responsibly.
Welcome back to San Francisco. What a beautiful shot that is. It is 8-3 Blue Jays going to the bottom of the 7th with Joe Siddall and Hazel May. I'm Dan Schulman. Drew Cavanaugh leads it off against Patrick Corbin. Joe Corbin is back out there. Hoffman was up last inning in case Corbin had gotten in some trouble. Corbin did not, and John Schneider has sent him back out to begin the bottom of the 7th.
And it could be for one hitter, and then Hoffman's coming in, but you would think maybe you want to give Hoffman a clean inning. Normally John does that, but it looks like Hoffman's ready and waiting.
So maybe just trying to exploit this lefty-lefty matchup. That's in there as he's out in front of Cavanaugh now, 1-2. missed away. You can see the target from Valenzuela was up over the plate but high, and Corbin's fastball kind of scooted on him, ran outside.
Really pulled it, didn't he?
Now a swing and a miss. Got him with a slider to strike him out for out number 1. And we'll see if that is all. It looks like it is. Here comes John Schneider. And he just wanted Corbin to get the lefty, and Corbin got the lefty. So Corbin will go 2 1/3 and give up 1 run in this game. He retires the last 7 batters he faces. And it'll be Jeff Hoffman coming in from the bullpen. Welcome back to Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet. It is 8-3 Blue Jays bottom 7, 1 man out, nobody on, and Jeff Hoffman has entered the ballgame.
Jeff Hoffman has been on quite a roll. He has been cruising along very well of late in his last 13 appearances. His 1 earned run over 13 innings, and he's continuing to just prevent base runners, piling up the strikeouts, getting tons of swing and miss.
Good job by Corbin. 2 1/3, 1 run. Gave up a single and a double to the first 2 batters he faced, then got the next 7. As Hoffman starts Elliot Ramos with a slider for a strike. So nobody saw Corbin twice. He went exactly once through the order tonight.
By design.
Check swing, and it's a ball and a strike on Ramos. 2 for 3 tonight after going 3 for 5 with 2 homers and a triple last night. Another slider and a swing and a miss, 1-2. And this has been one of the changes for Hoffman recently, really emphasizing that slider.
You got to believe hitters are onto that. We have the information. Everybody has the information. Ramos has to have the information.
Stays with it. 2-2. And then a fastball is fouled back. Well, to give you an idea, in April against righties, Hoffman threw the slider about 43% of the time. In May, 58% of the time. Since June the 1st, over 70% of the time against right-handed batters. Got it with the slider.
It is his pitch. He'll just tell you it's coming and keep throwing. He did mix in the fastball right there, and that can always help just get the hitter off of that spin and get him to expand on the final one. That's a great pitch with some late darting break.
So 2 down, and now Luis Arraez 2 for 3 with a single and a double. And he'll look at a strike. Against lefties, it's a bit of a different story. The pitch that Hoffman uses the most against lefties is the splitter. Using that a lot more, using the fastball less recently. Fastball here, and it's in the air to left. Should be routine. And it is for Clase. And 2 quick outs for Jeff Hoffman. 8-3 Blue Jays at the end of 7. And time now for a Blue Jays Central update with Jamie Campbell and Caleb Joseph. Fans, Jays Care is giving away a dream getaway to the Amalfi Coast. That's just one of 17 great prizes up for grabs during their jackpot of the summer. Then on August 7th, you could take home the grand prize. Don't miss out. Get tickets at bluejays.com/5050 from participating provinces. Underway in the 8th. Sean Keys, the batter. Adrian Hauser still in the game, and the Blue Jays have not gotten anything off him in 4 2/3 innings. Keys will pop it up on the infield. The third baseman Schmidt can't find it. Fortunately for him, the shortstop Adames knew where it was. So 1 down, and that'll bring up Jonathan Clase, who clearly, Joe, has the biggest hit of the night.
One big swing of the night is from Clase, and he took 2 sinkers from McDonald to get ahead in the count. He gets the slider middle in, and he did not miss it. Inserted into the lineup tonight, his first start of the season, and it's been a good one.
That's new as far as we know, right?
Yes,
the Dragon or whatever it is.
That's very new.
Yeah.
Didn't John Schneider allude to something today, like there is something going on in the clubhouse? And he's not part of that at all. It's a player's thing, but there must be an inside joke somewhere there in that clubhouse. But whatever works, I bet we see it tomorrow.
And I bet you Hazel has the details for us. She'll find out. 2-0 on Clase, who has also singled and scored and grounded out tonight, so he's 2 for 3.
Good swing again. Got himself into another good count.
A lot of people talking about how his last couple of weeks in Buffalo were much different than the first couple of months. You wish it would have happened earlier, but that they noticed a real change in him, both in the performance and the attention to detail. Yep, he did. It's 2-2. He's got talent. Strikes out here for out number 2.
Stream every pitch on Canada's best and most reliable 5G Plus network. Visit Rogers.com today to get connected.
2 down. Here's Andres Jimenez, 1 for 3. Hit an RBI single in the 3rd. In the bullpen, Mason Fluharty. So Jeff Hoffman got 2 outs to end the 7th. He only threw 8 pitches. And the right-hand hitting Casey Schmidt is leading off the bottom of the 8th for the Giants. You and I were talking during the break, like, do they have to go Hoffman to Rogers to Varland in a 5-run game, or can they save somebody? And maybe they're trying to patch together the 8th inning between Hoffman and Fluharty. Because after Schmidt, 2 lefties come up.
They do have a day off after this series, and if you get those guys to pitch tonight, if you need them tomorrow, it's day game after night game. I wonder if that's coming into play as well. But I would think, even though it's 8-3, John Schneider is going to do whatever he can to make sure there's no danger. And for me, that's going with your guys. It just feels like that kind of day for me, especially after what we would term rock bottom yesterday.
This one will go foul, 3-2. It'll be interesting if they take a 5-run lead to the bottom of the 9th, hypothetically. Does Varland come in? Not a safe situation. Normally you wouldn't use a Varland on a day like that, but is there more urgency because of how things have been going, to your point? We'll see.
Yes. I mean, my gut says I would do it, but at the same time, you're also thinking about tomorrow. If you need him to close the game, you want him fresh rather than having pitched the night before.
Man, nothing off Adrian Hauser. 8-3. Blue Jays going bottom 8. Final game of this series is a day game tomorrow. Our broadcast begins with Blue Jays Central at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. First pitch is at 3:45 Eastern, 12:45 Pacific time, and a couple of All-Stars will be on the mound. Looking forward to that one. Mason Fluharty is into the game here in the bottom of the 8th.
Mason pitched on Sunday in Seattle in that 4-0 loss. Did give up a run on 3 hits despite striking out a couple. He's been trying to get back locked in, of course, leading the league with those 47 appearances, leading Major League Baseball number 48 here tonight.
Miles Straw's now in the game. He is out in left field, taking the place of Jonathan Clase. A 5-run lead going to the bottom of the 8th inning, and the 3, 4, 5 hitters for the Giants are coming up. Casey Schmidt, Rafael Devers, and Jung-Hoo Lee. Schmidt tonight 1 for 3. It's been a bit more of a struggle, as you said recently, for Fluharty. Pulled foul down the line, and it's 0-1.
John Schneider alluding to today that maybe mixing in his pitches a little bit more and using that sweeper.
To center field, pretty well hit, but it's playable for Varsho, and out number 1.
And that's that newish changeup that we've seen this season. That's ideal right there. Catch a right-handed hitter, just get out in front of it a hair.
If you look at Fluharty's velocity kind of month by month with all these appearances, it's fine. It's not like he has struggled more because his velo is down. So maybe it's pitch usage, maybe it's pitch location, which is always or almost always a culprit when guys
sequencing
struggle.
possibly.
Yep.
There's the first pitch sweeper.
And for a called strike to Devers. Devers 1 for 3. Down and away, 1 ball and 1 strike. Spencer Miles started tonight. He went 4 innings, gave up 2 runs on 7 hits. Patrick Corbin went 2 1/3, allowed 1 run on 2 hits. Jeff Hoffman retired both batters he faced, and now Fluharty in the 8th. He drills in a strike, and it's 1-2. Got in on his hands a bit, and it's fouled off. Activity now in the Giants' pen. Ryan Walker, who last year was their closer for part of the season, but is pitching in low leverage roles right now. He is up getting loose. Down the left field line, Straw coming over, and he's got room in foul territory to make the catch for the second out.
Well, that can be a very tricky play, not knowing what that wind is doing up there. That wind swirls around Oracle Park here on most nights. You see Miles coming in, he's sliding over, he knows the wall is approaching, but stays with that the whole way. Very nicely done. Made it look pretty easy. That's not an easy play.
So 2 down here in the bottom of the 8th, and now another lefty-lefty matchup. Fluharty and Jung-Hoo Lee, who is 0 for 3. On the outside corner, 1-1. And even if Lee didn't like it, couldn't do anything about it. The Giants are out of challenges.
They've exhausted their challenges.
They have exhausted their challenges. I like that. That's the first time we've heard an umpire use that phrase.
Rob Drake, crew chief tonight.
Swing and a miss. The helmet goes flying. It's 1-2.
That's a big hack, left on left. The head's flying, the front shoulder's flying. It's tough to get to a sweeper down with that.
Might have bought himself another one.
I would think. Try to get away a little more.
Too far down and away.
Mason works from that way over by the first base side of the pitching rubber, so tough angle for lefties.
Got him. A nice inning for Mason Fluharty. 3 up and 3 down. Finishing it off with a strikeout of Jung-Hoo Lee. And at the end of 8, the Blue Jays still lead the Giants 8-3. He's jumped out early tonight, 3 in the second, 5 in the third, and they've still got an 8-3 lead now going to the top of the 9th inning. The middle game of 3 here at Oracle Park in San Francisco as the camera zooms in on where we are. Dan Schulman, Joe Siddle, Justin Beaudry. And a 5-run lead going to the 9th inning. They haven't added on, but they got enough early, and the pitching's been good enough that they've still got a 5-run lead.
Yeah, you always love to add on, but when you put up big crooked numbers early, the pitching can take care of the rest. And so far, so good with 3 outs to go for the Blue Jays pitchers.
Ryan Walker into the game, a guy who, as mentioned, used to be their closer, had 17 saves last year, actually has 3 this year as well, 31 in his career, but was sent down to the minors. Things were going really poorly for him. Ooh. That was a big breaker right there, and even Ernie is smiling about it.
Call that a frisbee. Sinker sliders from Walker to righties.
Wow. That's crazy stuff.
He'll need to tame that a little bit.
Louis Varland. So even with a 5-run lead, this shows you the urgency that John Schneider feels to nail this down. Ernie's wise to it now as he takes it outside 2-2. Now Varland also hasn't pitched in he's had 3 off days in a row, hasn't pitched since 4 days ago. Maybe that has a little to do with it as Clement knocks it up the middle and into center. His 3rd hit of the ball game. Good night for Clement.
Just keep hitting, Ernie. Starting to get acclimated to that leadoff spot, maybe. You know, that was another move John Schneider made just to shake things up and try something different.
His 7th 3-hit game of the season, 101 hits on the season now. And here's Nathan Lucas, 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. Turns away from an inside pitch, 1-1. Short lead by Clement. And the pitch in the dirt, ball 2. Third baseman Schmidt well off the line. A lot of room between him and that third base bag. There goes the runner. And Lucas shoots it foul left side. 2-2.
Looking to get things going a little bit.
Just trying a few things they might not otherwise try because they've been struggling to score runs.
And you may have something on a reliever coming in out of the bullpen. Maybe he's a guy that has a tendency that's pretty easy to pick up. Ernie trying to take advantage.
Going again. And a ground ball to the vacated hole. And it'll go into left center for a base hit. Starting the runner paid off. That's a routine ground ball, but instead it's first and third.
George is cheering on Nathan. Well, this was not an ideal pitch. It was a fastball up and above the zone. Nathan can handle that, though. We've seen him flatten that bat out at the top and shoot balls the other way. That one not real hard. It just rolled into left center field.
So first and third, nobody out for Guerrero, who is 1 for 4 tonight. He singled and scored back in the third. A couple of ground outs and a strikeout as well. A big hole on the right side here. Arise, the second baseman, playing up the middle. Lucas being held on at first. And Lucas draws a throw, and he was a little twitchy over there before the ball came over. You can see Mark Budzinski giving him information. That's how quick Walker is to the plate. Lucas starts and stops, and Guerrero takes a strike. 1-1. Infielders most of the way in. They would have an option to try to turn 2. Guerrero takes it outside, ball 2. Down the right field line, but foul. 2-2.
You're guarding against that slider, and you're just trying to let that sinker travel a little bit. So glad you let it travel all right. He was very late on it, but you're still thinking about that slider that we've seen from him this inning.
And given the defensive alignment and the situation, going to right's okay here for Guerrero, right?
Not a bad approach with 2 strikes.
Grounded to short, to second, 1 to first. Another double play. A run comes in, no RBI for Guerrero. It's 9-3.
Came back with that slider, down and away, but you can just see a little too jumpy still, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of mechanical issues. We're talking about Vladdy's at bats almost every time, but out front there and rolling it over.
Now Kazuma Okamoto 1 for 4. It's interesting because on the pitch before you talked about staying back, which you thought was great. Yeah,
good.
And then
that should help you with the slider.
Right, but the next pitch jumping at it a little bit.
Because you just don't trust yourself, and that's where he's at right now. It's no fun as a hitter to be there.
It was no fun on that swing for Okamoto, but he's okay. When Shai Davidi and I talked to Guerrero back in Toronto maybe a week ago, one of the things he said was, I feel like I'm jumping out at the pitcher. Like I can't wait for the ball to get to me. I'm trying to go out and get it. He knows he's not right. He knows he's not close.
Yep. It's so hard to get your body to slow down and trust it.
Little pop-up for the second baseman, Arise. The Blue Jays get one and will take a 9-3 lead here to the bottom of the ninth. Won't give it away. You saw who showed up at Kyle Lowry's retirement press conference. It was a cool scene. Here it's 9-3 Blue Jays going to the bottom of the ninth, 3 outs away from snapping their 3-game losing streak. And yes, it is not a save situation, but he's rested and he was up and they need a win, and it's Louis Varland.
Louis Varland's 0.96 ERA is the best mark in Major League Baseball. Minimum 150 batters faced because he is a closer, tied for third in the American League with his 18 saves, but he's just getting some work in here to stay sharp and close this thing out.
And all you really hope for is he can close it out and do it reasonably efficiently so he could go again in the day game tomorrow if need be. Willy Adames 1 for 3, the number 6 hitter in the Giants lineup. And quickly Varland's out in front, 0-2. What a season he has had. He's been a Blue Jay less than a year, but it seems like he's been around longer than that, doesn't it?
Well, the ascent too in the closing ball games. Of course, what he did in that postseason, pitching in almost every game.
15 out of 18.
Remarkable. Remarkable. And then to bounce back this spring and into this season and just right where he left off.
Fastball, and you can see how late on it Adames was. Nine runs on 13 hits for the Blue Jays, 3 runs on 9 hits for the Giants. The only home run belongs to Jonathan Clase. Just down and away, 2-2. Again, a great matchup tomorrow. Dylan Cease and Logan Webb, a couple of all-star starters. Bounced foul. You can see Louis blowing into his hand after almost every pitch. It is cool. Got him. Out number 1.
It's nasty stuff when you're dealing with the fastball that Louis possesses, the upper 90s, and then he just snaps off that curveball.
So he strikes out the first batter he faces, and now it'll be Bryce Eldridge, who is 1 for 3. 36% of the batters he has faced, he has struck out. Curveball for a strike, and it's 0-1. Just low. Valenzuela thought about it, does not challenge, and it's 1-1. A changeup that was a little bit down. And Valenzuela's been right 2 or 3 times tonight in the sense that he has not challenged pitches that were close but actually weren't strikes.
Yeah, a little higher target that time too for the second changeup. Trying to get Louis up in the zone a little bit, but he gets the swing.
Count even at 2-2. He elevated that fastball, and Eldridge got to it, just like he did way back in the second inning of this game against Spencer Miles. Yeah, so he's shown a good ability to get to high fastballs. Change up, bounced in, it's full. Weak ground ball up the first baseline, and Varland will put the tag on Eldridge for out number 2.
So tough for any young hitter, especially with the velocity and spin that Louis has. Eldridge is a very good young hitter in the game, but he saw it all. He saw the changeups, the spin on that curveball, the high velocity fastball. That's a tough AB.
So he needed 7 pitches to get Adames, but he got him. He needed 7 to get Eldridge, but he retired him. So he's thrown 14 to get the first 2 batters. Here's Barracoto. 1 for 3, had an infield hit that drove in a run back in the second. The big hit belongs to that young man, getting his first start of the season with the Blue Jays, and a 3-run homer for Jonathan Clase opened the scoring and may have relieved a lot of tension in that first base dugout. Then they added 5 in the third.
It probably felt like a big bubble burst.
Yeah,
that's got to be a good feeling, and hopefully they can carry this forward now. Maybe take it on at least into the break on this trip. Because if they can do some damage here over the next 4 days, the finale here tomorrow and then 3 in San Diego, now all of a sudden you start feeling good about yourselves going into the break, and then more so coming out of that break, because then you know you've got that critical couple weeks before the trade deadline.
2 balls and a strike, and he swings through a fastball. It's 2-2. Barracoto asking for time. George Springer is expected to be back in the lineup tomorrow. Popped in the air to right. Lucas going back. Makes the catch, and that is the ball game. Varland gets him 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the 9th. Clase with the big home run. Spencer Miles, Patrick Corbin, Jeff Hoffman, Mason Fluharting, and Louis Varland all pitched well here tonight, and that 3-game losing streak is over.
Well, this for me is all about the offense. We've been talking about it so much over the last, well, the season, but especially over the last couple of weeks. And let's see now if the Blue Jays can't put something together, try to win a series here tomorrow, and go into this break on a high note after the weekend.
Day game tomorrow, and again the broadcast begins at 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific. We'll have it for you, but right now it's time for Sportsnet Central, brought to you by KFC with Ivanka and Kevin.